Hello and welcome to How to Grimwild Part 1, maybe? We're going to talk about character creation today. Um, because I'm selfish and it's my favorite part. So we're going to talk about how to create a character. But I figured instead of doing like an OC or trying to come up with a concept, that kind of thing, we are going to make Rumi from K-pop Demon Hunters as a Grimwild character. If you haven't seen K-pop Demon Hunters, first of all, shame on you. Go watch it. It's so good. And second of all, I'm not going to apologize if there's spoilers because like you clicked on a video talking about Ruby as a Grimwild character, so I don't know what you want from me. For the character sheet, we are going to be using Cinna's Character Keeper. They're a community member who made this amazing Google Doc because there's not an official form-fillable PDF. So this is the one that I like to use when I'm making characters. There's a few different versions. You can find them linked on the unofficial Grimwild Discord, which is linked in the description box. And of course, we're going to be using Grimwild 1.4, which is the most updated recent version, which is free on DriveThruRPG. Again, I will link that in the box below. But let's get into how we start making characters and making our adventuring parties in a Grimwild game. So Rumi, I'm just gonna go away for a sec. Thank you. Okay. So we are in chapter 3 of the book, which is handily titled Adventures. So how do we start a Grimwild campaign? It is part of the game. I mean, it's a narrative game. It's very collaborative. So you don't generally come to the game with your character already made, just ready to play. When you're playing Grimwild, you are going to have a session 0 where the GM either, tells you what setting you're going to be playing in, or you're coming up with it together. And then you're going to be making your characters all together as a group, just to make sure that everybody fits well together. Because I know we have all been in that game with like a do-goody paladin and a murder hobo rogue and like a ranger who's just there for kicks and giggles, and like a druid who's high all the time. Like it's just a very disparate group, and it's so hard to play in that group. So in Grimwild, we come in saying that we have all adventured together for some amount of time, and we are going to make our adventuring party first before we even make our characters. So we can make sure that we are all vibing on the same page with the game that we want to play. So if we're sitting at the table or virtually, our GM presents us that we're going to be playing in a modern-day South Korea, and you guys are a female K-pop group called Huntrix, and your whole deal is that you are hunting demons. And right now, the big drama is that the Honmoon, which keeps the demons in their world, is starting to weaken. So it's like, ooh, that's something that we can find out about. So that sounds like a fun game to play. So now we are going to form the adventuring party. And the party is made to ensure that they fit well. So we are going to, out of this big long list of things, we are going to pick 2 that we see that our adventuring party as. 2 that kind of fit the vibe, and 1 that they are not. So if I'm looking at this big long list, I'm thinking about Huntrix, because I've watched the movie 7,000 times, don't judge me. I would say that Huntrix, probably heroes for sure, and maybe wardens, because they are like warding the Honmoon and stuff like that. So yeah, let's go wardens and heroes. Something they're not, I could see conquerors, mercenaries. I think I'm going to say they're not scoundrels. Like they're pretty good in heart. So this kind of helps me know that I want to make a character that has a strong sense of purpose, that's pretty heroic, and not weaselly. They're not a scoundrel. Next, set our group arc, a goal or theme that we're interested in playing out. This doesn't have to be it can be a goal for the whole campaign. It can be a group arc just for the first few sessions to get us started. Just kind of depends. But I remember my GM saying that the Honmoon was weakened, so I suggest, well, maybe our group arc should be to figure out why the Honmoon is getting weakened. that seems like it could be a fun thing to figure out. And so that's what we're going to write down. Over here in group arc, we're going to say find out is, if I can type, weakening. Okay. So I write that on my sheet. Excuse me. Now that we have set our group, we kind of have an idea of Huntrix. We're kind of going back and forth, you know, in this little bit as well. Like, ooh, I think Huntrix is actually like really super popular, and they have this, you know, big huge apartment downtown, and you know they're all like super cool and hot, and we, you know, are talking about this as a group. So now we're going to make our characters. It says, of course, to prioritize fitting in with theme, setting, party, and group arc. You know, I don't want, if we're going to be playing in, you know, modern day South Korea, where this girl pop group, a druidy type character probably won't fit so well. I'm not saying you couldn't. I'm just saying it might be a little bit difficult to fit that in, which is why we make the adventuring party first. So let's scroll down. We're going to slide past paths for a sec because we have this lovely 10-step checklist on character creation. Of course, you do not have to follow this way. Nobody's going to, like, you know, break down your house and shake you by the scruff of the neck if you go off list. But for purposes of this video, we're going to go step by step right down it. The first few steps, basically steps 1 through 4, are creating your character as a person before you create them as a, like, mechanical game character, if that makes sense. So the first bit, we're going to be talking about their background, like, you know, who they are, where they came from, what they're like as a person, what they desire in their life, what they look like, what their vibe is. We want to know who they are as a person before we start assigning paths and talents. Because again, this is a narrative game, so I really want to know who my character is. Like, what drives her, what motivates her, what is she like? So we start with the backgrounds. Backgrounds are the pillars of your backstory, revealing key aspects of who you are. If we quote right from the PDF, it determines, to an extent, your equipment and what you're just expected to have on you, things that you're just expected to know. It helps kind of guide your backstory and how you're going to act. We have 2 backgrounds, and each of them have 3 wises. Those are phrases that highlight areas of knowledge, experience, or awareness. For example, a mariner, somebody with the mariner background, I would expect that they've got, you know, fishing hooks, rope, nautical equipment. They might have maps and charts. And again, wise in nautical or seafaring and weather patterns. They know how to operate a boat. They know how to navigate by starlight. I would not expect a mariner to necessarily have a lot of military contacts. I wouldn't expect a mariner to be, you know, maybe know a lot about signs of sin if we're going off of the clergy background. So this just helps us know who our character is. Like, what's their background? So you can choose from the list here. They all have these 3 wises. You can make your own. There is a big, huge crucible down here that I'm not going to fuss with. So I think we are going to take one just straight as it is, and then I think we're going to make a custom one. And so I'm thinking about Rumi, and she's an entertainer. We have to go the entertainer background. It's Rumi. It's Huntrix. So entertainers are wise in legends and tales, crowd behaviors, and stage presence, which fits. The wise in legends and tales also fits for, you know, fighting demons and things like that. Crowd behaviors is going to help us be able to figure out how best to, you know, influence large groups of people. Stage presence, she's going to be able to take the spotlight wherever she goes. And then I'm going to come up with a custom background. I'm going to put it in quotations. I'm going to say hunter, because there is a preset hunter background, but we're going to say hunter as the demon hunter. So if I'm looking at this list of backgrounds, I think I'm going to make her wise in superstitions, just to give her a little bit more knowledge about demons and things. I really want her to know a lot about that. I think ley lines. That's a good one right there, because then she's got knowledge of the Hunmoon. And then because she's a hunter, I think I'm gonna say, where was it? I just saw it. Where do you go? You're noble. Influential contacts. I think that's a good combo. So let's write those down real quick. Superstitions, ley lines, and influential contacts. Alright, so that's kind of her background. That's where she comes from. And yeah, these don't have to, you know, leave room for growth as your backstory is revealed during play. So you don't have to get super specific with these. You can leave them nice and vague. Because again, I haven't played this character yet. I don't know who she is. Next, we're going to do our traits and our desires. This helps us with our role play. This helps us get down to the core of like why she's adventuring. What would, you know, make her stop? What is she in it for? So we choose 2 that we are and 1 that we are not. So there's this what is that? 4, 8, 12 list. So let's see. What was she? When I'm making a character, like an original character, sometimes I like to roll for this and just let the dice fall where they may. But I don't want to do that for Rumi because she's kind of already established. I can say that Rumi is caring. I think she does care a lot about her friends and her, you know, people she comes in contact with. I can say she's also protective. But I don't think she's particularly honest, which might be a spicy take, I don't know. But although the group might not be a scoundrel, I think it might be fun to have a little bit of that dishonesty. Like, she's not afraid to tell a lie. And she, you know, has some pretty big lies that she's keeping from her friends. So I'm going to say not particularly honest. You see here that there is room to add your own. So if you're not vibing with any of this list, come up with your own. You are not bound to what is on the sheet, what's in the book. This is a narrative game. Do whatever you want. Now let's come up with her desires. So 2 that she wants and 1 that she doesn't. So what does she desire out of life? Let's say justice and maybe harmony. And that's not necessarily a musical joke, but like it can be. You can take it both ways. And then 1 thing that she really doesn't desire, I don't think she's in it for the thrills. She's not really a thrill seeker. Okay. And then lastly, as our first, you know, little set here, our 4 set, write down 3 distinctive features, words or phrases that others notice about you. So just as you're introducing your characters, these are the just top 3. So let's look at Rumi. There she is, in case we forgot what she looks like. So obviously the first distinctive feature has to be her little long purple braid. I'm going to say for another distinctive feature, I might say she's got like a great sense of style. And let's go a little bit off kilter. Let's say that she's always quick to smile. So just as I'm describing her, like somebody walking down the street would just kind of ping those things straight off. You don't have to come in like with a face claim, with a pit crew, already ready to go. The paid version of Grimwild has a giant, huge crucible for coming up with ideas for this. But again, I can just look at her. I can see what she looks like, so it makes it kind of easy. So now we have her as a person. We're kind of learning more about Rumi as we're going through this background. She's, you know, an entertainer at heart. She knows a lot about, you know, like old stories and superstitions. With her protectiveness and her desire for harmony, I'm really feeling that she has a very strong sense of like perseverance. So I'm kind of starting to get like who she is as a character. So now we choose our path. When we choose our path, path, class, interchangeable. You gain its core talent to start with, and then you get another talent from either your path list or a non-core talent from another path. One thing that initially drew me to Grimwild was the very like loose nature of character creation, this and that. You really are creating a a person and not necessarily just a like a mechanic. So it really gets you into like, who is this character as a person? Like, what are their skills? It's not like in, you know, more traditional games like D&D Pathfinder where it's like, okay, I'm playing a ranger, so now I have to pick from my ranger skills, and that's it, unless you multi-class, which is a whole nother thing. Multi-classing is not a thing in Grimwild. You can take talents from wherever as long as it's not the core talent. So you can just really get into vibing with your character and really making them custom to the kind of character you want to play. So the free version comes with 12 adventurer paths. They are your pretty standard fantasy classes: druid, cleric, ranger, sorcerer, wizard, all of your good ones. And so let's pick a core talent, a core path for Rumi. And I know that everybody's first thought is obviously Bard. So let's scroll down to Bard. Oh, there we go. So let's see, Bard. Also Minstrel, Orator, or Warlord. You spin tales and songs that stir emotion, inspire bravery, and turn simple deeds into legends. Okay. So our core talent for Bard is the Bard song. So each session you can sing 3 Bard songs, rolling your presence stat. You can sing one to pull off a potent feat of emotional influence, buffing a group of allies, inflicting hindrance, interrupting GM moves. You choose a style, a tune, and an impact. But you know, now that I'm thinking about this, I'm really thinking about Rumi. And she is an entertainer, she's a performer. But I think a lot of her strength comes from her convictions. I think a lot of her as a person comes from her devotion to the hunters. So I think I kind of want to scroll down and look at the paladin. You have sworn an oath, and your unwavering dedication gives you powerful conviction, which you can wield to better this world. That sounds more like Rumi to me, kind of as the leader of Huntrix. Pretty much everything she does is bound by this sense of duty to the hunters, to, you know, defending and protecting the Hun Moon. So let's see what our core talent is. Our core talent is Oath Sworn. You draw power from an oath you swear to uphold until you die. Your oath is comprised of 3 core tenets, which we'll talk about, which dictate our behavior. Yeah. So here's the mechanical part of our core talent. You don't take thorns from being bloodied or rattled. So when you get... Whoops, let's not move that. So when you get hurt in Grimwild... I'm just trying to scoot that out of the way. When you get hurt in Grimwild, you take marks to your stats. If you get harmed twice before you can clear it, you take bloodied or rattled. When you have bloodied or rattled, you have to add a d8 to all of your rolls, called a thorn, in either the physical stats or the mental stats. On a 7 or 8, the result is cut by 1 full level. So instead of a success, it would be a mixed success, and a mixed success, it would be a failure. But the paladin doesn't take those thorns. But instead, when we're bloodied or rattled, we take an extra die on rolls with those stats. That is kind of huge. Let's see. We also have 3 smite. When attacking someone in combat or argument, you can spend it 1 for 1 to drop dice from a task pool after rolling it. Okay. Yeah, I think we're going to stick with Paladin for Rumi. Oh, what's this next bit here? Hold on. Affirmation. Each session you can give Spark. Spark is essentially an extra die. You can have up to 2. An extra die that you can add to anything you want. It's almost like heroic inspiration from D&D. It's just an extra die. It helps you be better at what you're doing. We can give Spark to a player who joined a scene involving your tenets, whether they followed them or tried leading you astray. Interesting. When a tenant is in violation, discuss the toll that has had on you and think on a chance for atonement. Take one less might for each tenant in violation. Yeah. I think we're going to go Paladin for Rumi. I think we're going to be a little spicy. I think we are not going to go Bard. We're going to go Paladin for her core talent. So, let us come up with her oaths. So let's see. Swear your oath. At character creation or over the first few sessions, you do not have to know this right off the bat. The 3 tenets that form the core of your oath. You can write your own specific ones using these guidelines. Or there is a lovely table right here to help you build tenets. Let's see. So rank the tenets in order of importance. Yeah. You must uphold your tenets or risk violation. They can evolve as it makes sense or best serves the fiction. You break a tenet when you violate it again while in heavy violation. You can no longer atone. Breaking 2 makes you an oath breaker. Spicy. Yeah, let's go this. Okay. So I'm going to pop over real quick to the Paladin core talent. I'm just going to yoink this. There we go. Where are you? Sheet. Can I put that there? There we go. Okay. There we are. Which again, not ideal because I can't like click these boxes, but it's okay for now. Okay, if this was an actual thing I would play, I'd make it a little nicer, but we're doing this. So, let's come up with our tenets. I don't know if I'm vibing with the tenet builder. I wrote some out beforehand. So I think, let's think about Rumi. Let's think about the hunters. I'm just going to write these in path talents just to make it easy. Right, tenets. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I figured y'all wouldn't want to see me typing, so I just typed those up real quick. So, here are the tenets that I've come up with. The first and highest tenet. A hunter destroys all demons to protect the innocent. Second tenet. A hunter shows grace and calm even in times of stress. And 3. A hunter confides in her fellow hunters and supports them. So I think these are going to be our tenets. So when I'm playing Rumi, this needs to be what guides her entirely. And this is where I think I'm going to have a lot of fun playing this character, because I have in here a hunter confides in her fellow and supports them. But I also have that she is not honest, just as a person. So that is going to be a very fun clash there of, is she going to follow the tenets, or is she going to, you know, kind of give in to her like baser self of, you know, how she wants to act. I think that's going to be a really fun like push and pull that we can do here. So yeah, we have her core talent. She is a paladin. Love that for her. Let's scroll back up. Next, we need to pick her secondary talent. These are on the second page of each of the path lists. We have a list of bard talents. We have the berserker talents. We have cleric talents. If it is overwhelming as you're creating your character to know that there's all these different options, just stick to the core. There's literally nothing wrong with that. So if I was like feeling a little overwhelmed by all these options, like I would just pick something from the paladin talent and it would be good and fine. So I am obviously well versed in this game. I know a lot of the different talents and a lot of the different options. So I've kind of narrowed it down to 2, and I'm debating which one I want to go with for Rumi. So the first one is in Fighter. It's Arcane Training right up here at the top. Arcane Training. So you have Spellcasting as the Spellcraft talent on this page. You roll the Wit stat and can cast 3 spells and 1 potent or like extra powerful spell each session. I know 3 spell theorems created with the Crucible, and I can learn new spells. Because she doesn't necessarily wield magic, but she does kind of have like an inherent magic. So I could always kind of like reskin this. It's like her you know, singing her weapon into existence, singing the strength of the whole moon are part of these spellcrafts. So if I go to this lovely hyperlinked PDF, by the way, it's very nice. Can't remember who went through and did this, but like, I love you. The spellcraft talent. This is one of those instances where you're like kind of taking a core talent, but like not really, because you don't get all of this. This, you know, the core talent, you know, 4 theorems. You can cast 4 spells, 2 potent spells. So we're a little bit like bound by it not being our core talent. But this is our giant spell crucible. When you see crucibles in Grimwild, they are 6 columns and 6 rows. So if you're doing it randomly, you would roll 2 d6s, and then have one be the row number and one be the column number. So if I roll a 5 and a 1, it's either column 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, line 1, which is curious, or column 1, row 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, freezing. That makes sense. So you can either roll or you can pick from the crucible. I think sorry, getting ahead of myself. You roll a style, an essence, and a form. You pick 2 of those, kind of smoosh them together, and then you assign a magic school. Some examples that they have here. If you were to roll Terrible, Spirit, and Gate, you decide to choose Spirit Gate. Assign it to Divination. You could speak to the dead with Spirit Gate. Conjuration to summon Spirit Warriors. I could also see Spirit Gate being like a way to teleport. Spirit Gate could be a way to, you know, look through somebody's eyes. Another thing I really love about Grimwild is this freeform magic system. Just because I have the name of a spell, it can do something different every single time. So I have here a spell that I picked out for her. I called it Prismatic Shard, and I made that a transmutation. Transform matter and alters physical properties. Because I wanted her to be able to like bring her sword out and make like a magical sword and do, you know, cool things with that. But, you know, because this is a game, we're not playing it 1 for 1 like the show. Prismatic Shard as a transmutation, it could also maybe be like shards of glass that fly out the next time. I could maybe make an argument for like, I want to make this glass suddenly be opaque or glimmering or show something else. I want it to be like a big TV screen. Another spell that I had written down for her would be Dazzling Sound as an enchantment. Charms, influences, and curses sentient creatures. Because, of course, she has a magical voice. She's able to do things with her song. So that's one option is the arcane training. But because she is, you know, a singer and a performer, I want to roll up to the Berserker. And we have, where is it? War songs down here at the bottom. Each session you can sing 2 bard songs. Write down the composition of the only 3 songs you know. So instead of, like if we took the bard core talent, we could sing anything from that whole, crucible as many times as we wanted. Because it's not a core talent, it is limited. So we only know 3 songs, and we can only do it twice a session. So I'm, you know, vibing with the music, of course. So the song compositions that I came up with, you choose a style, a tune, and an impact. So I came up with like a vicious anthem of fury. She knows what did I write? I can't even remember my own handwriting. A rousing ballad of awe, and a gentle serenade of calm. So I can sing my bard songs, I can do it twice, and I can kind of invoke a reaction from an NPC. I can use it to help my allies. I can use it to stop the GM from doing things. Let's say that the GM is, you know, coming at us with a whole horde of demons, and I'm going to try and do my gentle serenade of calm and try and just chill everybody out a little bit to make this fight a little bit easier. or perhaps I'm trying to get a whole group of people to help fight the demons with us, I might sing a vicious anthem of fury. I would roll presence, and if I succeed, then maybe the people around us are going to help us fight. But yeah, like looking through, I think those are really my two. Like, friendly face would kind of work in any new town or district. You can get recognized by a fan, know someone useful, make a friend. They'll do you a reasonable favor. I could do that one. Ooh, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna go war songs. I think that's gonna be my secondary talent. I think we need to play a little bit more into that she's a singer. Oh my gosh, can I not? Okay, fine. I'll just copy this part and then write the word war songs. War songs. Paste. So I'll be right back. Let me write these down. We're back. Okay. We have written down on our sheet our war songs. So this is what our character can do. Now this is not everything. You know, I can say that, you know, because she is a fighter and a warrior, like, you know, she's gonna have like, you know, her weapon is like this really cool magic sword that she like sings into existence. It's like, yeah, you know, we're gonna say that as a hunter background, that's just something that she can do. Because, you know, I don't have any place on here for inventory. I'm not gonna write down, you know, cool magic sword. You just have it. So we have our path and our talent. So let's see what is next on our checklist for creating a Rumi. Let's see, that was step 5. Ooh, step 6. We are going to pick some stats now. So now we get into some mechanics. You have 4 stats. You have brawn, agility, wits, and presence. There are 2 physical stats, which are brawn and agility, and 2 mental stats, which are wits and presence. We are going to start with 1 in every stat. And then we have 4 other points that we can assign however we want, but we cannot go above 3 in any given stat. There are some talents you can pick that can increase those, but generally those are set. Yeah, generally those are set in stone. If you take like the Druid Wild Shape talent or like Jack of all trades, you can move them around, add to them. But you don't like add to your stats at level ups like you do in like D&D and stuff like that. So let's see. I have 4 points I can assign. I know that I want to max out her presence for sure. Not only because she's, you know, Rumi, but also because of our path talent war songs, because we're going to be rolling presence a lot. So I'm going to put 2 stats into presence. So that gives us 2 left. So let's see, I don't think she's particularly strong, but she is pretty agile. So I think I want to put 1 point into agility, because she's always like doing flips and stuff when she's fighting. And then I think I want to throw maybe another into wits, just like her intelligence and like her smarts and stuff like that. Because she does know a lot about the world. So yeah, I think those are going to be our stats there. So when I am trying to do something as my character, the GM is going to tell me to roll one of my stats, and I choose the corresponding number of d6s. So if I say, you know, I'm going to run up to Genu and I'm going to do a really cool flip across the building and run up and slice his head off, then it's like, okay, roll agility to see if you can make it across the rooftop. And not like fall completely on your butt and look really embarrassing. So I would take my 2d6 for agility, and I would roll those 2 dice and take the corresponding result. Or for like our path talent, our war songs, we roll presence when we do that. So if I'm trying to do my vicious anthem of fury, I'm trying to hype everybody up. I think I want to maybe give like a bulwark essentially to my allies. I want to say I'm going to sing my war song. And I would love some mechanical effect to that GM to like help protect them. And she says, well, sure, if you succeed at this roll, we'll say that they have like a 2-die shield pool that they can roll when they get hit. Perfect. So I'm going to sing my vicious anthem. I'm going to roll my 3 die for presence and see if I succeed or not. So those are your stats. Next, we have character arcs. Choose 1 or 2 character arcs to explore. These, again, just help guide the roleplay. They can be changed at any time. You're not, like, bound into these arcs. This is where we're going to pop up to look at our story arcs here. So we have, like, ambition arcs, struggle arcs, and growth arcs. So I'm picking, like, 1 or 2 for Rumi. I think I want to say a struggle arc. I think I want to say keep a secret for one of her arcs. Let's pop that in real quick. Keep a secret. And then I think for her second arc, maybe let's say make things right. I think that's a good one. Let's add that on. Make things right. So those are my character arcs. Oh my gosh, guys, we are so close to being done with making this character. So let's go. Let's pop back down here. Boop boop. There we go. Seriously, I'm obsessed with this hyperlinked PDF. You guys have no idea. Actually, you probably do. We all play games. We all know the struggle of not having a hyperlinked PDF. This one fully is. It's so nice. So those are my arcs. Okay. So at this point, we generally when I'm running games, we pause here. We go through if anybody has any questions about their character or mechanics thus far. Like, let's sit and talk about it. Let's kind of take a bit of a breather. And then we do our bonds with our other characters. So we're going to go around the table and we're going to show off our finalized characters. We've been talking about them. I've been explaining, you know, about Rumi, about her cool sword and how she was like orphaned as a baby and she's like raised to be a hunter and how that's kind of guided her life. And I've listened to Mira's player saying that like she was like a kind of the black sheep of her family, and so she doesn't really feel like she belongs. But now it's like official. We're all going to go around the table one at a time and describe our characters. As I'm listening, I'm going to choose a bond that I have towards each PC. We match an intensity and a nature. So that is on page 14. Ready? Pew! Hyperlink. We have an intensity, so deep, complex, growing, low-key, playful, tense, and a nature, these 6 here. Or, again, come up with your own. No one's holding you to these. They're not necessarily reciprocal. Just like in real life, somebody that you feel you have a deep affection towards, someone you think is your absolute bestie, might just have like some, you know, playful affection towards you. Like, yeah, they like you, like your friends, whatever. I might have my rival, my tense rival. They might just, you know, kind of have a growing curiosity about me. They're like, I don't really know you well enough to be your rival. You can change a bond at any time, usually in response to something that they've done, something new that we've learned about them. When it changes, you say, "Hey, I think I'm gonna change my bond with Zoe. That was really cute what she did with." You know, that little scene with her and Rumi, like, or with her and Mira finishing each other's sentences. So I think I'm going to change to, you know, deep affection or whatever. And then the other PC gets sparks. They get that fun little extra die. So let's pop back down here. So I have, for Zoe and Mira, I have deep affection for Zoe. So I can put that over here. PC is named Zoe, and I'm going to say deep affection. I get a lot of like big sister, little sister vibes from Rumi and Zoe kind of watching the movie. But with Mira, I clash with Mira a little bit. I think she kind of sees through my bullshit a little bit. So I'm going to say that I've got a tense affection with Mira. And obviously we can tell just because we've seen the movie that those bonds change a lot through the course of the movie. So, you know, just because I have, you know, deep affection with the character now doesn't mean next session you're going to piss me off and I'm going to change that. They change. Our characters are people. They're going to change and they're going to grow and they're going to develop. And we reflect our character sheet to change that. And with that, we are basically done. Let's revisit. Let's make sure that everything matches up. Anything you want to change. And then we describe our last adventure we went on together. The GM gives a basic overview and we roll a group montage to see how the adventure went. So before we started, we were, coming into our final performance of our world tour, and there were demons on the airplane. So we all roll 2 dice to see how it went. After that, we start the game. And so with that, we have created Rumi as a Grimwild character. I know this was kind of a really quick and dirty intro to this. Is there anything that you disagree with? Do you want to fight me in the comments about what you would change on this character sheet? Is there anything that didn't make sense? Anything that I can clarify either in the comments or in a future video? Please do join us on the unofficial Oddity Press Discord. We are always in there yapping. We are running games pretty frequently. We have the West Marches, the Grim Marches, which is going to be migrating to its own server sometime soon. And we'll hear more about that, of course, on the Discord. But thank you for joining me, and I hope that you had fun kind of getting to know the Grimwild character creation process. And I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in a future video or on Discord. Bye!